And you heard what Turkey said as 1.5 million or more people gathered in Istanbul to protest in support of Palestine just a few days ago. He spoke to the Westerners directly and said, you crusaders, you Christians, you want to come to war again. The cross wants to come to war again with the Christians. What is he saying? He's telling you, you guys are about to start a religious war. His own statement. You want to hear that? Take a listen.
Ey Batı, size sesleniyorum. Siz yeniden bir hilal Haçlı mücadelesi mi estirmek istiyorsunuz? Eğer böyle bir gayretin içerisindeyseniz biliniz ki bu millet ölmedi. Bu millet dimdik ayakta ve yine aynı şekilde aynı kararlılıkla Libya'da neysek, Karabağ'da neysek bilesiniz ki Orta Doğu'da da oyuz.
The cross, you want to come to war again with the Christians, but remember that this Turkey you see today is the same Turkey of that time, and we have not changed. The Turkey we have been to Libya and to Karabakh is the same Turkey that we are today. And you better be careful because nothing has changed. In other words, the same revolutionary army that took over and ruled almost up until from 14th to almost up until 20th century, the whole of the Middle East and Eastern Europe, he said that same army, that same force is still alive and well. And if we need to get in and show you that we're still here, you better be sure we're going to do it. That's why the man already started saying that they are going to send their warships to that region if they need to. And it's looking very likely that they're going to eventually do it because the Turkish president is beyond mad at what is going on in Gaza. And every word you hear come out of his mouth or his lips is going to reflect a religious war or crisis. And if you talk about religious war, you're talking about a global war. And you see, the battle line is already drawn. There is Russia, China on this side with the Arab world, and there is Ukraine and Europe and Israel and America on this side. Do you see what we are slowly walking ourselves into? If you go to that region right now, and America says they are bringing all these warships. I'm talking about some of the strongest they ever had. They are bringing them so they can deter any enemy that could potentially want to get involved, like Turkey and the rest of them. But it is going to eventually be beyond. And now listen to something else that is very, very critical. Joe Biden withdrew from Afghanistan. When he withdrew from Afghanistan, they left billions of dollars worth of American weapons in Afghanistan. But that's not where the real thing is. Where the real problem is coming for me is the fact that hundreds, if not thousands of Afghans were airlifted to the United States of America. Just because they felt that Taliban was coming, these Afghans, they were not vetted. Nobody took them through any process. Because it was an emergency situation, they packed all of them to where? To the United States of America. Mostly in New York and all the big cities. And then, of course, you know that American borders have been so porous all along, and there have been too many people going in there with all these suspicions that nobody knows whether terrorists are among them. Why did I say that? Because after all of those happened, and you see America standing by Israel in such a historic war, and America says, oh, you can see America is being careful all the time. because now the American bases in the Middle East is being attacked. The bases were attacked in Syria, and the American fighter jets went to bomb locations in Syria and said these people are the ones who are behind it. Some bases were attacked again in Iraq, and we saw a video where American soldiers were reportedly also leaving Iraq and going back home because tension is rising every day. Now, America has not even openly said we are now involved in the war. This is just for their own backing that they are giving to Israel. All this are already happening. American embassies and Israeli embassies are being attacked. Now imagine when it becomes eventually obvious that America is now involved in the war, because you are going to see there are many reasons why America is going to get involved, because, of course, American citizens are part of the people that Hamas is holding, and the hostage exchange program has stopped. They are no longer exchanging or releasing hostages. So the whole thing is over now. Yeah, Israel has gone in, and nobody knows if Hamas is still going to release more hostages. But even if all the American hostages are released, America will still get involved, because some in the Arab world are going to respond to the Israeli incursion in Gaza. And when they come in, because of America's promise to deter or stop anyone who wants to get involved, they will eventually attack such persons. And remember, Iran has been reported to be the sponsor of Hamas and Hezbollah. Already, Israel and Hezbollah are exchanging fire, and Hamas in Palestine is already dug in, and they are ready to begin to do stuff. The moment it becomes clear that Hamas is no longer making a lot of impression, Iran will most likely get involved, Turkey will most likely get involved, and America will not stand idly watching. And keep in mind that all these people who might get involved were people who were either helping Russia to defeat Ukraine and the collective West, or they were providing underground logistical support. So there is going to be some punishment for providing that kind of love or support to Russia. Iran is the number one target. I said it from the first video to the last one that I made before this. Iran, I don't see Iran escaping this. At the end of the day, this is going to eventually get to them. Is it that they walk themselves into it, or the war eventually comes to them? This is what we are looking at. And getting Iran involved doesn't mean that Iran is bigger than all these big powers, America and the West. But you are going to see something called escalation to a degree you've never imagined in your life. Every time I hear religious war, it traumatizes me, because I know that a lot of ignorant people are going to take advantage of that to cause mayhem in different parts of the world, even places where there's no reason for anyone to do anything. You will see things happen in those places. That's why it's called a world war. And Israel is a nuclear power. If everything comes to a point, because the Arab world and the coalition of Russia and China is massive. This war is crazy. Because remember, America is also equipping Taiwan against China. America has already fought Russia through Ukraine. And you are looking at a situation where these people will now say, you know what? Since this war has come to this level, we need to go finish these guys once and for all. It's going to be a fight to finish. That's why you see too many weapons, a lot of weapons, such that you have never heard of before, are pouring into Israel right now, not just from the US, but from the West. And you are sitting down thinking, oh, it's just one of those wars. It doesn't matter. When they finish, they will relax and they will settle. It's not about settlement, because there is something that must happen. It's why I decided to make this video, to help you understand that something has got to happen about the third temple. The timing seems about right, because the unblemished red heifer that must be used for the sacrifices at the temple has been ready. After the Temple Institute told the whole world that everything needed to build the temple is ready. People were asking, what about the red heifer? They showed everyone the proof that the red heifer has been ready. And there's a particular time that is given for that red heifer to be sacrificed and the ashes used for the temple to be constructed. The sacrifice of the temple, the red heifer is here. Everything is ready. And the Jews have cried for decades for that temple to come. That's why I said, in order to help you understand the whole mystery of the temple and all the signs that came with it and why it has to be in that particular location where you have Al-Aqsa Mosque, I'm going to attach a video that I did 3 years ago. 3 years ago. I will attach that video right now so that you can watch it and understand better where this is all headed and why this war cannot be walked back. It is not like all the wars you've been watching. This is different. This war is eventually going to lead to the Jews taking over the Temple Mount. The mosque that is there looks very likely to me like it's going to be taken over and probably destroyed in the midst of war. By the time this is happening, there's going to be chaos all over the world. The man of peace is going to come and bring peace to the world, and he will probably be the one even that will order the building of the temple. Because the other temples that were there before the mosque that were destroyed, it was wars that destroyed them. It looks like this is the war that is going to destroy this one. And if it happens, you can expect explosions all over. Much of the world will go up in flames. That is what you call a true world war. And what am I asking you to do today? Prepare ye. Don't take anything for granted. If you can look for those anti-radiation drugs, especially those of you who live in America, in Europe, in Israel, I hear that even parts of Israel, they're already distributing it. If you can gain access to it, get it, keep it for you and your family. When they say begin to use it, you start taking it and make sure you stock up on it so that if the one the government has given has finished, you can have more for you and your family. Nobody knows how long this is going to last. People are writing me from Israel saying, look, we don't know what to do. We can't even get out. But you have to prepare and have all this in your home. If you're in America, I am telling you, there will be sleeper cells that will be activated in the United States of America. You know how I know? I did a video some time ago. Alexa was asked who is going to win the 2024 elections. Alexa was saying that, there will not be any elections in the US because America and China will be at war.
Alexa, who will win the next American election?
The 2024 American election will not take place. There will be no winner. War Powers Resolution of 1973 or the War Powers Act will be invoked by the act of war with Russia and China. Once an invoked, the standing party will retain and remain in power.
And Chinese sleeper cells will be activated. You know sleeper cells? When you have like members of a group, a terror group that are on the ground, quietly staying on the ground in a particular country where they are supposed to operate. They are walking around like every other person, but they are planning. They have all their plans and weapons stored up somewhere hidden. The day they get instruction that now it's time to strike, all of them will pull out from everywhere they are and they will strike and conquer the nations where they are. Those are the sleeper cells. I am telling you, at the end of the day, it's not just going to be Chinese sleeper cells. You're going to see some very serious sleeper cells from Islamic sleeper cells that may have come from Afghanistan and all these places. And you now begin to wonder, how come people were allowed to come in a Taliban, from a Taliban enclave? There was no vetting, there was no checking, and they were allowed to come in. And those guys now, seeing what is happening to their brothers in Gaza, if they get up and decide to attack America, I don't know where Americans are going to run to, because this is not going to come from outside, it's going to come from within. How prepared are you about this? Christopher Wray of FBI is already telling people that you got to be careful when you move around, because with that is going on now, you can't rule out the fact that some individuals might take laws into their hands and do some crazy things. He's already telling you that in America. And this is after there has been a lot of nuclear exercises in some major cities in America. That this thing is going to come to you, and people are not listening. You will likely not have any election in America in 2024 because the whole world is going to be merged in a lot of chaos. There will be war going on everywhere. Russia-Ukraine war, we're not talking about it again, but it is still raging, even though Russia has upper hand. It's still raging, and this has now been started, and all the arsenals are moved in this direction. And this is African soil. Forget that they call it Middle East. This is African soil. And this is where Africans need to pay attention. I am so ashamed of people who say, oh, it's happening in Middle East. It's not about us. Let's talk about us. Which one is us? Egypt is Africa. Israel is Africa. All those regions are Africa. These are African soils. They are Africa. How do you claim Egypt to be Africa, but then Israel is not Africa? What are you talking about? Same land, same border, same everything. These are African countries. I don't know what is called Middle and East. So anything that happens there is going to affect so many of us in Africa. It's why we need to be concerned and why we need to pray. And why we Africans also need to take precaution and do what I'm asking people abroad to do. If you know how to access that anti-radiation medication, buy it for you and your family. Keep it at home. When a nuclear strike happens, it goes very far. It kills in millions and billions. Go read it up. If you can buy masks, buy them. I've started researching myself. This is the best I can do. I can do more than this. We got to be careful. We got to pay attention because the times have changed. I'm now going to leave you with this video that I promised you that is going to help you understand the history of the temples and why the Jews must, as they have always said, build a third temple, and why that third temple cannot be built anywhere else but where you have one of the holiest sites in all of Islam, at the Temple Mount today. God bless you.